The rain would not stop. Mud swallowed the road beneath the Romans' feet. The forest stretched endlessly in every direction, dark, silent, unfamiliar, for days. General Varus had marched deeper into Germania with nearly 20,000 Roman soldiers, 3 entire legions, veterans of the world's most powerful empire, disciplined, confident, certain that no enemy could challenge Rome, or so they believed. Then a scream echoed through the trees. A soldier vanished. No warning, no battle line, no visible enemy, just silence. Then another scream. Suddenly, arrows burst from the forest. One Roman fell, then another, then dozens more. Panic spread through the column. The enemy seemed to be everywhere at once, and nowhere at all. The Romans couldn't even see who they were fighting. For generations, Rome had crushed every enemy that stood in its path. Gaul, Greece, Spain, Egypt, kingdom after kingdom had fallen before the legions. To many, Rome seemed invincible, but this was different. This wasn't a battlefield, this was an ambush, and the Romans had already walked straight into it. Hidden somewhere among the trees, a man watched the chaos unfold, a man Rome trusted, a man Rome had trained, a man Rome considered an ally. His name was Arminius, and he had spent years preparing this moment. Within days, 3 entire Roman legions would cease to exist. Thousands of soldiers would die. Eagles of Rome would be captured, and the most powerful empire on earth would suffer one of the greatest military disasters in its history. This is the story of the trap that wiped out 3 Roman legions. Years before the ambush, Rome believed Germania was already conquered. Its legions had marched far beyond the Rhine River. Forts had been constructed, roads cut through the wilderness. Taxes were being collected. To Roman officials, Germania no longer seemed like a hostile frontier. It appeared to be transforming into another province of the empire, or so they believed. But beneath the surface, anger was growing. Many Germanic tribes resented Roman rule. They hated Roman taxes, Roman laws, Roman interference in their lives, yet there seemed to be little they could do. Rome's military power appeared overwhelming. Its legions had defeated kingdoms and empires across Europe and the Mediterranean. To challenge Rome openly seemed impossible. At least, that is what the Romans thought. Among the tribes lived a man unlike any other, a man who understood Rome from the inside. His name was Arminius. As a young man, he had served alongside Roman forces. He spoke Latin fluently. He understood Roman tactics, discipline, and military organization. More importantly, he had earned Rome's trust. To Roman commanders, Arminius was a loyal ally, a useful partner in governing Germania. But to many of his own people, he would become something very different, a symbol of resistance. Over time, Arminius reached an important conclusion. The Germanic tribes could never defeat Rome in a traditional battle. Roman armies were too disciplined, too organized, too experienced. If Germania wanted freedom, it would need another approach, not a battle, a trap. Slowly and carefully, Arminius began building alliances. Tribal leaders who had once been rivals started meeting in secret. Old feuds were set aside. Distrust was replaced by a common goal. One by one, more tribes joined the conspiracy, and throughout it all, Rome remained completely unaware. Then the perfect opportunity appeared. The Roman governor of Germania was a man named Publius Quinctilius Varus, experienced, respected, and confident. Perhaps too confident. Varus believed the region was secure. He believed Roman authority had been established. Most importantly, he trusted Arminius completely. That trust would prove fatal. One day, Arminius arrived with troubling news. A rebellion had supposedly broken out in a distant area, an uprising that required immediate action. The report sounded believable. After all, it came from a trusted ally. Varus listened, considered the information, and made his decision. The army would march. nearly 20,000 people began moving through Germania. 3 Roman legions, auxiliary troops, camp followers, civilians, supply wagons. The column stretched for miles, but there was a problem. The route recommended by Arminius passed directly through dense forest. Narrow paths, difficult terrain, endless mud, the kind of ground Roman armies hated, the perfect place for an ambush. Then, just before the march entered its most dangerous stage, Arminius left the Roman camp. He claimed he was gathering additional allies to support the campaign. Varus allowed him to go without hesitation. He never suspected the truth, because Arminius was not gathering allies for Rome. He was gathering warriors for the trap. Deep within the forests of Germania, thousands of fighters were already preparing, waiting, watching, ready to strike. As the weather worsened, the Roman column pushed deeper into the wilderness. Rain turned the roads into mud. The terrain slowed movement. Units became separated. The long column stretched farther and farther apart. Order began to disappear. And somewhere ahead, Arminius was waiting. The trap was ready. The Romans simply did not know it yet. The storm grew worse. Rain hammered the forest without mercy. Mud swallowed boots with every step. Wagons became trapped along the narrow paths. The Roman column stretched for miles through the wilderness. Some units could barely see the soldiers ahead of them. Others had already lost contact entirely. For the first time, Rome's greatest advantage had disappeared. Its discipline, its formations, its order. Then the attack began. A horn echoed through the trees. Moments later, arrows erupted from the darkness. Roman soldiers fell before they even understood what was happening. Before anyone could react, spears followed, then axes, then warriors burst from the forest itself. The trap had finally sprung. The Romans desperately tried to form battle lines, but there was no battlefield, no open ground, only trees, mud, and confusion. Every time a unit managed to regroup, another attack struck from a different direction. The enemy seemed impossible to pin down. They appeared from the shadows, killed, and vanished back into the forest. By nightfall, thousands of Romans were dead. The survivors hastily built temporary defenses and hoped morning would bring relief. Instead, it brought even greater horror. The attacks never stopped. For 3 days, the slaughter continued. Every mile forward cost more lives. Every attempt to break free ended in failure. The forest itself seemed determined to destroy the legions, and behind it all was Arminius, the man Varus had trusted, the man who understood Roman tactics, the man who knew exactly how the legions fought and exactly how to defeat them. At last, Varus understood the truth. There was no rebellion, no emergency, no reinforcements waiting ahead. Everything had been a lie. Every report, every warning, every promise. The trap had been planned from the very beginning, and now there was no escape. As the final attacks closed in, Varus made his choice. Rather than face capture, he took his own life. Several senior officers did the same. Roman leadership collapsed. The remaining soldiers were left to fend for themselves. The legions were finished. When the fighting finally ended, 3 Roman legions had ceased to exist. The 17th, the 18th, and the 19th destroyed. Their eagle standards captured. Their soldiers dead or scattered. It was one of the greatest military disasters in Roman history. Far away in Rome, news of the catastrophe slowly arrived. At first, many refused to believe it. How could 3 Roman legions simply vanish? How could the greatest military power in the world suffer such a defeat? But the reports continued, and eventually, the truth became impossible to deny. According to ancient sources, Emperor Augustus was devastated. Again and again he reportedly cried out, "Varus, give me back my legions," but the legions would never return. Neither would Rome's confidence. The defeat changed the course of history. Rome never again seriously attempted to conquer all of Germania beyond the Rhine. The empire survived. It remained powerful. but its expansion northward came to an end, and all because of a trap. A trap created by a man Rome trusted. A trap hidden deep inside a dark forest. A trap that wiped out 3 Roman legions.